Hi, my name is Rebecca, and I work at On Semiconductor. On Semiconductor is a company located in Gresham, Oregon. We're one of many sites within the company, and there are sites all over the world, and we all work together to produce semiconductors. I've been in this industry for 20 years now, and if you would have asked me as a young person if I wanted to work in the semiconductor industry, I would not have known what to tell you. I never heard of semiconductors at that time, and I realized they're a very common thing, but we don't learn much about them until later. When I was younger, middle school, high school, I knew I liked computers. I knew I liked math. I played video games too, but I didn't know anything about semiconductors. One interesting thing about the business is that you work in a clean room. To produce semiconductors, you need to be in a very clean space. And we work on keeping the air as clean as possible by installing filtering units in the ceiling and fans that push airflow to the floor, and that allows us to stay very clean. And the semiconductor clean room is even cleaner than some of the cleanest areas in a hospital. The kind of engineer that I began working as was a defect engineer. I studied chemistry, didn't really know about semiconductor engineering, but I knew I liked science, so I had studied chemistry. And it turned out to be a good fit because I had studied really small things as being a chemistry student. And that was a good fit for studying defects in a clean room. So every day as an engineer, I would review my data, look for things that had gone wrong in the last 24 hours. And then if certain kinds of things went wrong, I would then really try to correct the problems or get groups of people together so we could correct the problems in a team effort. I learned after many years of doing engineering that there are lots of different kinds of semiconductors too. There are very simple types of devices that are only a couple of pennies each. And then there are very complex kinds of semiconductors that are mini computers, all that would fit in the palm of your hand. So the kind of defects that I would find would impact those two different kinds of products differently. And I got to learn about what kinds of actions to take based on that product type throughout the time I spent as an engineer. One surprise along the way for folks is that there are lots of different kinds of engineers too. There are electrical engineers. These folks will take time to make sure that really high voltage equipment is up and running and safe. And those same electrical engineers would also be the ones that would go and look at the semiconductors themselves and make sure that they have the right kinds of current flow going to the right places. There are chemical engineers who work on the large scale and the small scale, and industrial engineers who just make sure the factory runs the way we want it to. And like me, anyone who studies chemistry or physics, these technical fields, those folks can also work as engineers in the industry. So some advice that I would have to anyone thinking about what should I do when I grow up, or should I consider working in the semiconductor business, would be that you don't have to decide right away. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I decided much later, even than high school, that yeah, I'll try semiconductors. The only thing that you have to do along the way is stay with it. If you don't know what you want to do, that's okay. just stick with it. If you're good with math and science, and you don't have to be the best, just have to stick with it, and do the work, and you'll be able to work in a role in an industry like semiconductors, and and it turns into a really good career. I would say my friends all think, wow, that's neat that you get to work in a clean room and work on problems, global problems with engineers from all over the world. And it is pretty cool to get to do that kind of work together. So I really think it's a great industry, and it's been really good for me and my family, and rewarding work along the way. Thank you.